We are back. That's right. We are back to the Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. I am Dr. B. And this is show number 55. And it's entitled, hold on, folks. It's entitled Vaccinated versus Anti-Vax. Folks, is this the end of our existence? Wow. Yeah, it's that serious. This show is that serious. Show number 55. Vaccinated versus anti-vax. Folks, is this the end of our existence? Wow. This topic has recently blown up because of the current pandemic upsurge of COVID-19, pitting vaccinated folks versus anti-vax folks. And we're gonna dive much deeper into this issue. It's kind of lighthearted now, but it's very confrontational. But we have to do a very deep dive on this issue because it is that serious. That's right. I am Dr. B. This is Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus Podcast Show. I want to thank, first I need to thank all our sponsors. Not all of our sponsors. We have a list of sponsors that I want to recognize. Of course, Podbean, thank you for showcasing our podcast over the year and a half, or almost 2 years now. Thank you, Podbean. Thank you, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Thank you, Apple Podcasts. Google Play. Listen FM. iHeartRadio. Also, Amazon Prime with Audible, and of course, recognize on Spotify. Thank you, Spotify, for showcasing our podcast. And of course, I want to thank my 2018 publisher, ABC Clio, publishing my book. And this issue covers across so many issues. Again, I'm using this platform to address a lot of issues, and this cuts through a lot of issues related to race and ethnic relations, because because everyone is in the midst of whether you're vaccinated or anti-vax, and it cuts between race and ethnic relations lines across the board. So, with that said, again, I want to get in deep into this right now. Pardon me, as I move things around in the studio just a bit. This show, and it's recording this in August, and I've already done a show on COVID-19 and how it's affecting, and race has been a part of this issue. But now we've gone to, after the vaccines been, the multiple vaccines have been distributed since the beginning of, at the end of 2020, and now it's August with the massive international vaccines that have been distributed to all populations, as many populations as possible, particularly here in the United States. The massive outreach of the first set of vaccines, and then the second set of vaccines. And let me just say, I have my oh my gosh, let me preface this real fast. Yes. And I'm actually improvising right now on the spot. Hold on for just 1 second. Yes, I had to go back, just walk across a little bit in my studio to get my COVID-19 vaccination record card with the symbol of CDC on it. Yes, in March of this year, as soon as the first vaccine was available in my particular area, I made an appointment to get vaccinated without question. It's a Pfizer. I got the Pfizer vaccine. And actually in March, and you get the first shot, and then 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks later, you get the second shot. And I did that with my wife, and had no problems of going there, going through the procedure, and let me just here's what needs to be explained. I had did I have any hesitation? Yes. Did I have any hesitation in getting the vaccine once it's rolled out, and once it was officially approved by our federal government and by the agencies, the various public health and medical agencies? Did I have any hesitation? No, I did not have any hesitation. Why? Because my background is in public health, is in anthropology, is in community outreach, but also as an anthropologist, I tend to see how things are viewed from the individual population's perspective. Again, anthropology is the study of human populations from a biological and cultural perspective. That's right. Anthropology is the study of human populations from a biological and cultural perspective. So I was looking at this vaccine from a cultural perspective. Okay, naturally as a cultural perspective, that is this vaccine, does it have any implications of causing harm to my particular population? Those were my initial questions. I had questions. I said, culturally, are they distributed? Is there any ill effects associated with because of my race and ethnicity as an African American multiracial person? And culturally, I didn't. There was a little hesitancy because of. Let me just say this: because of the way trials have been distributed among different racial and ethnic populations in our United States over the decades, over the centuries. So there was that initial hesitation. I'm not going to lie to you. There's that initial hesitation, thinking that, okay, this vaccine is being rolled out fast. Culturally, am I going to buy into it? So there was that initial hesitation because of the history in our population, in our country. There was that initial hesitation culturally. And then biologically, I felt that, guess what? There's all different types of new discoveries in our society. Every single year, every single day, every single month, we just don't hear about them. And this is one medical discovery and intervention that could potentially, of course at that time, potentially help individuals, populations to overcome this serious health and medical situation that is affecting so many millions of folks, thousands of folks. So initially I would say, well, culturally I had a little hesitation. Biologically, medically, I didn't have any hesitation. Because something had to be done. Some new intervention had to be developed to counteract COVID-19 spread. And if you just take your time and look at how many interventions, how many new discoveries medically that have provided us, and I say us, not racial and ethnic group, us as human beings, to live longer. Now I'm putting my hat on as an anthropologist. As an anthropologist. To live longer. And what do I mean by living longer? Increasing our life expectancy. Oh, am I going through this? I'm doing this deeper dive. Yeah, let me just see. I'm touching upon the biological, cultural, and biological issues first from an anthropology perspective, and then I'm going to get to the confrontations of what's happening among the vaccinated and the anti-vax folks. So let me just preface this. I'm actually prefacing this setup, this discussion. So culturally, I had a little hesitation of getting the vaccine, just a little. Biologically and medically, I thought, well, guess what? There's been interventions, medical interventions, discoveries in our country for centuries. And a vast majority of them have been effective when they rolled out in a very large public situation and approved by the government, approved by our medical institutions. And yes, I am in public health and medicine, have colleagues who are in medicine. And so biologically, clinically, now I'm getting clinically, we have a number of interventions that have increased our life expectancy. If you just look at the life expectancy of our U.S. population from the 1900s to 2000, we have increased our life expectancy from the average life expectancy around in about 50 years of age, 50 to 60 years of age, to 80 years of age. And how have we done that? We've done that through biological, clinical, new interventions, discoveries, as well as behavioral changes. So just looking at life expectancy of our human species here in the U.S. and globally, we have increased our life expectancy continuously. Why? Because of new discoveries and changing our behavior. So that, with that in mind, I said, well, biologically and clinically, yes, I'm going to go ahead and get vaccinated. And that's the reason why I got vaccinated in March. Once it rolled out in our area on a massive vaccination distribution area, actually, in the convention center. And yes, there was some mild side effects. That is, a little stiffness in the arm by the shot, but that was it. And some felt, others had side effects, of being lightheaded and so forth. And they monitor the situation. They give you the shot. You sit there for about 30 minutes. And they monitor you. And then if you didn't have any major side effects, then they would let you go. And I, again, did it first shot, and then 2.5 weeks later, returned for the second shot. And felt relieved. Wow. Relieved that our federal government and the agencies work together to get this vaccine out as early as possible. And I also need to preface this. Yes, I worked for the federal government before. I worked for the National Institute of Health. I know how things operate, the procedure, the strategies that must be followed in clinical trials. So yes, I worked for NIH. I have lots of respect, of course, for the National Institute of Health, recognizing we have the best scientists and the best administrators on the federal level to rapidly address this issue. So, working for this institution, our highest public health and medical institution, I felt confident that these vaccines that have been approved and went through, levels of clinical trials, and which will soon be receive FDA approval. I went on ahead and got my was vaccinated, as well as my entire family. And of course, there's, after that point in time, more and more rollout. And initially, a lot of folks thought that everyone, a vast majority of folks, would naturally get vaccinated. Well, guess what? Since March and now it's August, we still have a large percentage of folks who have declined, do not believe that they should get vaccinated. So now you have, in August, after the rollout of the vaccines, all the public information, all the outreach, all the advertisement, all the encouragement. Actually, states are giving out money, trying to promote, trying to reach the hard to reach segments of our population. Initially, they thought it would be particular racial and ethnic populations. Hello, African Americans. Hello, Hispanic Latinos. Hello, Asian Pacific Islanders. Hello, Native Americans. Yet it cuts across the board, irregardless of race and ethnicity. It cuts across the board of those who are not getting vaccinated, of all different racial and ethnic populations, all various income, educational level, rural, urban. Those and I'm going to say this, and I'm sure some anti-vax folks will not appreciate how I'm addressing you. So, I'm just hear me out. They are steadfast in their beliefs, and it cuts across race, ethnicity, social, economic class, education, politics, place of residence, age. So now, in August 2021, we're in a situation where there has been a rapid upsurge of COVID-19. Hospitals are at their maximum capacity for those individuals who are unfortunately suffering from COVID-19. A vast majority of those individuals are the anti-vax folks. That's right. Majority of the individuals who are suffering and unfortunately dying from COVID-19 and its complications are the anti-vax folks. Those are the numbers. That's not false information. Those are the numbers. That is the trend. Now that after we've had this vaccine, and everyone initially, I didn't jump on board. The major leaders thought that once we have this vaccine, we will be able to control this. No, we didn't. And my question is, we did not have enough time, did not address a particular element of this vaccine, is how do you address the values and beliefs and those cultural issues that many folks do have and holding on to about medical intervention. And it's going deeper than that now. Those core set of values, the beliefs, of individual human rights, social justice. And those individuals who are anti-vax folks, they're holding on to those beliefs, as that is, they're in conflict with the federal government. They're in conflict with mainstream society. They're in conflict with being told, in their perspective, being told what to do with their own individual bodies. And I do understand that. I do understand that. Let me just say, I do understand that approach. Because I initially view things from values, beliefs, patterns, traditions. I do understand that approach. However, it's not just an individual choice. We, and I say we, live collectively on this planet, on Earth, in your country, in your state, in your community, in your county, in your neighborhood. We live collectively together. We're not isolated. Collectively together. Whether you're in a very rural area or in the urbanized area, in a city area or suburbia, we still live collectively together. So now I'm going to get to the anti-vax folks. So when you're making a decision not to get vaccinated and recognizing the consequences of just if you increased your chances of getting COVID, not just for yourself, but your family members, your kids, your grandkids, your friends, your close friends, and then you increase your chances. Let me just say it right up front. Dramatically increase your chances of dying early. Let me just say dying earlier. Those are the consequences. And it's just not you. It's not an individual. It's your entire network of folks. Yes, your entire network of anti-vax folks. That's who you're jeopardizing. Of the anti-vax folks, and then those who are vaccinated. Because those who are vaccinated, like myself, have to think that, okay, now I'm in the midst of, does this person was this person vaccinated? No, they don't. Okay, I have to continue my behavior pattern of wearing masks, staying socially distanced, because I don't know who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. I'm not going to take that chance. But at least I feel much better as a vaccinated person that I have the resistance to this virus, to contracting this infectious disease. I have built up another layer of resistance. And by the way, we all have to build up a layer of resistance to a wide array of diseases. That's how we've been able to increase our life expectancy. This is not the one and only infectious disease that we have to address. This is going to be continual. And again, coming from an anthropology perspective, it's about adaptation. It's about adaptation culturally and biologically. And biologically, how do we adapt? Develop, take the new vaccines, build up your resistance to this infectious disease and another one and another one and another one. This has been going on for decades. And now we're at a point in time, I think it's so important, that it comes to, is this the end of our existence? If the anti-vax folks continue to grow in numbers, it's going to affect all of us. All of us. That's the reason why this is so important. And believe me, I respect everyone's beliefs, values, traditions. Because that's where I come from, my own family, my own history. But here, we're talking about something that can completely change the landscape, health-wise, longevity-wise, of our human species. And it does amaze me how staunch and angry the anti-vax folks get. When challenged about being vaccinated. And yet we all claim to be, living as one, being collective. But when you see professionals, and when you see athletes, I'm looking at the NFL, National Football League. Football season is beginning. And there are a number of athletes who are not being vaccinated, who resist. We just had the Olympics and the protocol of the Olympics in Tokyo. And what happened there? Had to get vaccinated to compete internationally. With all the internationals, there's certain protocols. They accomplished it. But now we have this upsurge. And this upsurge is due to those who have not been vaccinated, the anti-vax folks, and how much that is costing, not just lives, costing hospitals, costing medical personnel, costing all of us time, energy, and money just to take care of those who did not take care of themselves. The anti-vax folks. That's how serious this situation is. And let me just say, I'm a proud member and hold my card up proudly that I have been vaccinated COVID-19. I think when I first got it, I thought it was a badge of honor. A badge of honor. Yet for some folks, the anti-vax folks, they don't think so. Yet they start to change, and I've heard this time and time again when many of them are in the hospital suffering. And when the physicians and the medical personnel cannot do anything for them, they feel bad that they did not get their vaccines when it was distributed. On their deathbed. They feel remiss. And some felt like, oh, wow, I do feel guilty. You get to a point where you respect everyone's values and beliefs. But the practical side of this is that you are jeopardizing not just your own life, but everybody else's life. Your parents, your grandparents, your grandkids, your kids, your relatives, your very close friends. Because of a value, a belief. So a tradition. And many times things just have to change and all of us have to adapt because we live on this planet collectively together. Collectively together. So this is a very, very serious issue. The vaccinated versus the anti-vax folks. Is this the end of our existence? It's that serious. And it cuts across all different racial and ethnic lines, social economic lines, educational lines, rural, urban. So there you go. This is show number 1 of this vaccinated versus anti-vax, folks. Is this the end of our existence? It's that serious, folks. And normally I would not do a show like this. I went a little bit over 30 minutes. I apologize. But this right now, and I'm in academia, we have to change everything. We're in the process of changing everything of how we teach, how we do this again. And we should not make this readjustment again. So it's really up, and it's up to the anti-vax folks and strategies for the mainstream to really come together, kind of meet these anti-vax folks in the middle, not just point their fingers continuously, but respecting their beliefs, their values, traditions, and bringing more of the realistic aspect of this situation home to them. And I'm still want to find out, for those of you who are anti-vax folks, please email me. Please share your perspective. Send me your thoughts at ejb678@gmail.com. I need your input, your understanding, how you perceive the world, how you perceive this vaccine, how you perceive, overcoming this issue, which is not going away. Share your input so we can have a better dialogue about this and hopefully better outcomes. Because otherwise, we will be doing this again next year in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. That's how serious this is. This is show number 55. I went long. It's entitled Vaccinated versus Anti-Vax, folks. Is this the end of our existence? I want to thank my platforms, Podbean. I want to thank Apple Podcasts, Google Play. I want to thank Audible. I want to thank iHeartRadio. Listen FM. And of course, I want to thank Spotify. Thank you, Spotify. We're on Spotify, y'all. So, again, this is Dr. B. Take care of yourself. Slow down. Be proud. Be responsible. And step up. And finally, put your ego aside. Put your ego aside. Put your stubbornness aside and think about our human existence. You're part of the human species. Put it aside. Recognize we're all in this together. Peace out.